Namaste. In the last episode, we discussed the second step of the brand creation process called the brand campaign. Today we will discuss the same Today we will discuss in continuation of this another topic which is brand evaluation. And to discuss this subject, we have with us management consultant Mr. Himanshu Vaidya. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Sir, can we start with why evaluation of a brand campaign is so necessary?
Any activity that we do it with some purpose in mind. And any activity is like an investment of our time, energy, and resources. And when we invest something, we want maximum output out of it. And the question of return on investment comes in. The same is true about the brand management process. In the brand campaign, we invest huge amounts of money. It goes into crores most of the time. It is not a question of thousands of lakhs. In most cases, it's a question of crores. This becomes a very big part of the total marketing spend, and the marketing spend becomes a very large part of the total corporate spend. And therefore, return on investment on the brand spend in a large way determines return on investment on the marketing spend, and that in turn determines to a large extent the corporate return on investment. Therefore, maximizing return on investment on a brand campaign is very necessary for any company. In order to do that, it is necessary that we do the right campaigns the right way. And if we don't do any campaign the right way, we figure it out what is it that we are not doing right and take corrective action from the next campaign. No brand campaign is the last brand campaign. There are going to be new brand campaigns every 3 months. Therefore, normally what we do is, if we spend 100 rupees on a brand campaign, we spend 99 rupees on the actual campaign and 1 rupee we spend on research related to that campaign. So that two things happen. One, the probability of making a mistake in the brand campaign goes low because we do research even before the brand campaign is implemented in the market. And once the brand campaign is implemented and all the advertisements, public relation, communication, events, they start happening, then again we do research to find out whether we have done something right or wrong, or what is it that we have done right, what is it that we have done wrong. So we can magnify the right that we do and minimize the wrong that we do. So it is necessary to do to do evaluation of a brand campaign for two reasons. One, if the campaign is a long campaign, then we can do brand evaluation in the middle of the campaign to see if we need any course correction or should we keep going as we are going. Or if there is a short campaign, then at the end of the campaign, we would like to do an evaluation to find out what we did right or wrong, and correspondingly, we can do better in the next brand campaign. So, for uh, all these purposes, and all these purposes ultimately boil down to the return on investment on the brand spend that we do in the brand campaign. And this return on investment does not happen only in terms of sales, but it also happens in psychological terms, which results in sales over a long period of time. So there is the return on investment when it comes to brand spend. The return comes partly in the form of capital returns and partly in the form of revenue returns. The revenue returns in terms of sales are immediately realized, whereas the return in terms of enhanced brand capital, that gives us dividends over a long period of time. To maximize return on investment, therefore, we need to do evaluation of a brand campaign.
Are there different ways in which you can evaluate your brand campaign?
Yes, there are different ways of evaluating a brand campaign, and there are different timings when it can be done. So if a campaign is a long campaign, let us say 6 months, you can do a midway evaluation after 2 or 3 months to find out whether we are going on the right path or we need a course correction. If it's a short campaign, let us say 2 months or 3 months, there is no point of a midterm evaluation because we have to give a minimum amount of time for the campaign to take effect in the minds of consumers. And therefore, in case of short campaigns, we do the end of the campaign evaluation, which means after the campaign is over, we do the evaluation. Coming to how we do it, there are various methods of doing it. Uh, the common thing between all the methods is that we do a pre and a post. So before the brand campaign begins, we do a pre-brand campaign analysis to know the baseline. And after the brand campaign is over, we do the post-brand campaign analysis. And then we see the difference between the pre-state and the post-state. And the difference between the two is attributed to the brand campaign. And that tells us whether the brand campaign has been successful or not. Now to do it, what do you measure in the pre-stage and what do you measure in the post-stage? This differs from research agency to research agency, consulting firm to consulting firm, and company to company. So there are various models which are used to do this. Personally, I prefer the consumer's brand adoption process as a very good tool to do this kind of a pre and post evaluation, and from the difference make out how good or not good the brand campaign has been and in which areas on what counts has it been good or not good.
So, sir, what is this consumer brand adoption process that you mentioned? If you can explain it in a little detail.
Consumers brand adoption process talks about the journey of the consumer from knowing about the brand the first time to becoming brand loyal customer. So let us say a new brand is coming into India. Go back to 1995 when LG, Samsung, Hyundai, they were not present in India and they were coming to India for the first time. So most of us never heard of the name of any of these three. Neither LG nor Samsung nor Hyundai. Very few of us had gone out of India and seen these brands there. So let us say in 1995, these brands are coming to India. Let us say Samsung is coming to India. So from hearing about Samsung the first time to purchasing Samsung the first time to becoming loyal to Samsung or not loyal to Samsung, that whole journey is called consumer brand adoption process. So what are the stages? The first stage in the consumer brand adoption process is the stage of awareness, brand awareness. That the first stage is the consumer has to become aware of the brand, that such a brand exists in the market. You are not going to purchase any brand which you are not aware of. So first you have to be aware that Samsung as a brand exists in the market. Then the second stage is of brand comprehension. So you go into details that yes, Samsung brand exists in the market. So the next question is, what are the products sold under the brand Samsung? What are the prices of those products? What do people say about those products? Where are they available? What is the quality? What is the guarantee? What is the after sales service? What are the advertisements Samsung is releasing? How do you view those advertisements? All of that goes into what is called brand comprehension, the knowledge about the brand. So first is the brand awareness, second is brand comprehension, where you develop knowledge about the brand. Where does the brand come from? What kind of industrial group is it? Is it reliable, not reliable, pro-environment, anti-environment, pro-labor, anti-labor, honest or dishonest? What is the history of the company? What is the history of the brand? What is the word of mouth about the brand? Where is the availability? What is the price? What is the retail experience like? What is after sales service? All of this knowledge related to the brand, the products sold under the brand, the price, promotion, place related to the brand, all this knowledge about the brand comes in the second stage called brand comprehension. The third stage is brand preference. When you have adequate knowledge about any brand, naturally you will process it and you will come to conclude whether you like that brand overall or you don't like. So based upon the product quality, the word of mouth, the advertisement communication that you see, public relation communication, events, what people say, retail experience, after sales service, what goes on in the news, all that gets collected and you create an opinion about a brand, whether you like it or you don't like it. So in any product category, if I ask you about cars, you will have opinion about some car brands that you like and some car brands that you don't like. And this liking or not liking will be based upon variety of factors, both objective as well as psychological. So the third stage is brand preference. So first is brand awareness, then brand comprehension, then brand preference. Then you have uh, brand purchase. You move from preference to purchase. For the first time you purchase. If I like a particular brand and it is available and I have resources to purchase, I might go and purchase the brand. So the next stage is brand purchase. And then you have brand loyalty. After purchase, if I am satisfied with the brand performance, the product performance, I might repurchase the brand. And if over a period of time, I am very satisfied and delighted, I might become loyal to the brand. So the brand loyalty comes in. So this is the full process. Stage one, step one, brand awareness. Step two, brand comprehension. Step three, brand preference. Step four, brand purchase. Step five, brand loyalty. This five-step process, this journey from awareness to loyalty is what we call the consumer's brand adoption process. The consumer slowly moves from the stage of awareness to the stage of loyalty, but this movement is not inevitable. It is quite possible that some consumers will stop at comprehension and not develop a good preference. Some people will develop a preference but not go to purchase. Some people will go to purchase but not become loyal customers. So there are ifs and buts between any two stages. There are intermediate variables between any two stages, and therefore it is not necessary that once you start at awareness, you end in loyalty. No, you can stop your journey at any stage of this entire process. But this entire process, this journey from awareness to loyalty as a full conceptual package is called as the consumer brand adoption process.
Right. And sir, and how can you use it? How can you use this process for evaluating a brand campaign then?
Uh, this is this consumer brand adoption process is my favorite tool to evaluate a brand campaign. There are many other tools also, many other approaches also, but this is my favorite approach. In this approach, what we do is we do a pre-campaign measurement of these five parameters: awareness, comprehension, preference, purchase, and loyalty. And after the campaign, after some time, we again measure the same parameters: awareness, comprehension, preference, purchase, and loyalty, and see how is the difference in the pre and the post state. And this gives us a lot of insights. For example, let us say pre-campaign awareness about the brand in a particular district was, let us say, 60%. And post-campaign, we expected it to be 75%, but it's still 62% only, which means on the count of brand awareness, the campaign has not given us adequate returns. So what can the factors be? So if brand awareness generation or enhancement, if the enhancement in brand awareness is not adequate, some of the factors responsible can be this. One, the budget of the campaign was not adequate. For example, if you want to enhance awareness of any new brand in the market, let us say in Ahmedabad, then you have to put up minimum 10 to 15 hoardings and you have to do some activity in the local media, some events on the ground to really enhance awareness about the brand in Ahmedabad. If you don't have adequate budget, let us say you can buy only 2 hoardings, then that awareness enhancement will be very, very limited. It will not give you the goals that you want to achieve. So, if adequate enhancement in brand awareness is not achieved, then uh, with regard to brand campaign evaluation, we can say either the budget was not adequate or the media planning was wrong. If the budget was adequate, you have spent adequate amount of money, but you have taken hoardings at the wrong places. Then people are moving on some streets, and on those streets where major traffic is moving, you don't have any hoarding. And you are hoarding in some place where people are not passing by. You are giving advertisements on television on a channel that people are not seeing. Or you're giving advertisements at a time when people are not turning on the television. So these are the problems of media planning, that if budget is okay, adequate, and still awareness enhancement is not achieved, there is something wrong with media planning part of the campaign. Coming to the second part, comprehension. If awareness is there, right, awareness enhancement has been achieved by the campaign, but people don't have adequate understanding about what products you are selling under the brand name, or what are the features of those products, or what is the price promotion and so on about those products, then it is a problem of comprehension. And that means the problem essentially is with the copy or the script of the communication. That if you're talking about television advertisements, it is the script which is at fault. If you're talking about printed advertisements in newspapers and magazines, it is the copy which is at fault. So the copy or the script is supposed to communicate the knowledge about the brand, and that has not been communicated. If the product is complicated, then you cannot do it in advertisements, you have to do it by events. And then it means that the events part of the campaign has been weak and has not been able to achieve the right amount of comprehension in the target audience. Then we come to the preference. That let us say uh, awareness is okay, comprehension is okay, but preference is not there, or the preference enhancement has not been adequate. That means there's something to do with either the model or what you creatively showed in terms of TV advertisement or newspaper advertisement. Something to do with the creative is a problem. Either the punchline or the plot of the story or the model or the creative, the color, the form, the composition you have used, something is wrong with the creative. That the people have seen it, they are aware about it, They have knowledge about the brand, but they don't develop liking about the brand. So when you look at this situation, awareness is fine, comprehension is fine, but preference is not fine. People are not moving from comprehension to good preference. That means either on the objective part of the brand, you are very highly priced, or the sales after sales service is not enough, or you are not available very well, or retail experience is not good, or on the subjective side, something is wrong with the creative. That either the model or the plot or the aesthetics you have used, or the punchline or the jingle, something is wrong. The comprehension is not followed by enhancement in preference. Let us say awareness is fine, comprehension is fine, preference also is fine, but after preference, the preference is not converting into sales. People tell you that I like this brand, but I don't buy this brand. You don't buy every brand you like. I have very high preference for Rolls Royce. I want to buy 101 of them. That does not mean I will buy them. It will remain as a fantasy because I don't have the money to buy them. So between preference and purchase, there are many variables. One variable is the capability to purchase. If the brand is very highly priced, it will have a situation where preference might be very high, but purchase will be very low. Or if price is not a constraint, then availability can be a constraint. That people have seen the advertisements, they have liked the brand, they want to purchase, but when they go to the retail shop, the brand is not available because the distribution system has not reached to that place. So still the purchase will not be there, or the word of mouth or opinions of others are bearing upon the person. So the person wants to purchase, but everyone else around him, what we call the influencers, they caution the person not to buy. So again, the personal preference does not turn into a real purchase. So between preference and purchase comes availability, affordability, uh, retail experience, the word of mouth of others, and the effect of influencers. In some cases, it can also factor in what will people say, the fear of society. That if I buy this product and use it in front of others, what will people say? So that also can be a factor where, although you would like to buy in the heart of your heart, you don't end up buying. Then we go to, let us say, awareness is fine, comprehension is fine, preference is fine, and the person also purchases it for the first time. Then after purchase, you don't necessarily go to loyalty. Let us say the purchase is high, but loyalty is low, which means people are trying the product for the first time, but the product is not performing well, or after sale service is not good, or the warranty guarantee is not good enough, and therefore people don't buy it the second time. They don't become loyal. So you don't end up into loyalty. Now, if you end up into loyalty, let us say, you move from awareness to loyalty, then once you become loyal, you automatically become a free of cost ambassador for that brand. You will tell three other people how good a brand is and they should try it once. So this is the benefit of loyalty, that people become free of cost honorary brand ambassadors in society. So this is how the consumer moves from awareness to loyalty. And if we see that the consumers are stuck at a particular point, we can know where the brand campaign is going wrong. So if we look at the whole process, the first three parts have to do completely with the brand campaign. Awareness, comprehension, and preference, they are completely psychological entities which have to do with the brand campaign to a great extent. There is an effect of objective part of the product, but that is low. The higher part is of the brand campaign. When we come to Purchase and loyalty. There, the real life objective factors play a very big role. The price, the availability, the word of mouth, the social anxiety, the performance of the product, the after sales service, the warranty and guarantee, they play a very big role in the later part of the brand adoption process, which is between preference and loyalty. So the two steps of purchase and loyalty are influenced very heavily by the objective parameters related to the brand. Whereas the first three parts are heavily dependent on the brand campaign. So if pre and post, we measure all these five parameters and we say, see that after the brand campaign is over, the enhancement in awareness is okay or not okay. We can know if it is okay, what has gone right. If it is not okay, we know that either the budget was not adequate or media planning has been wrong. If people are, if the campaign has been able to achieve high awareness, but it has not been able to take people from awareness to comprehension, we know the script is in problem, or the copy is in problem, or adequate different types of communication related to the same brand giving different information was not practiced, or events were not organized enough to give really detailed complicated information about the brand. If comprehension is okay, preference is not okay, we know something has to do with the creative, the models used, or the plot used, or the aesthetics used, or the jingle used, or the tagline used. Similarly, we can at every step find what is right and what is wrong, and correspondingly, we can evaluate a brand campaign, the components of brand campaign which have been okay, which have been not okay, what are the causes for certain things being okay or not okay, and therefore, in the next campaign, what to strengthen, magnify further, and what to work upon for course correction. So this is the way we can evaluate the brand campaign, and this process gives you both parts of evaluation. If you evaluate in terms of sales, it gives you a very objective evaluation of the campaign. How much enhancement in sales the campaign is able to achieve. If you look at enhancement of loyalty, you can see how much of future sales the campaign has been able to enhance. And if you look at the first three parts, again, you can have an assessment of how much of future sales in a different way compared to loyalty, the campaign has been able to accomplish. So we can look at the total equity enhancement, total brand equity enhancement done by the campaign in the subjective part of the brand and the objective part of the brand, and thereby we can evaluate the brand campaign using this particular process.
And sir, can we use psychoanalysis at any stage of this brand consumer adoption process for
Uh,
deeper understanding?
yes, very much so. The first three parts of the process are highly psychological.
Okay.
So for generating awareness, comprehension, and preference, psychoanalysis can be used very deeply to find out what kind of aesthetics, what kind of models, what kind of communication will work for any given target customer group or not. So once you study the target customer group psychology using psychoanalysis, and then before releasing the campaign, you do a pre-release testing of the campaign using psychoanalysis, you can reduce the chances of error. And after the campaign is released, you can still use psychoanalysis to find out what has worked and not worked. So let us say uh, some people say you develop preference when your own self-image and the brand image they come together. They are very close to each other. Some people say you develop preference when uh, the brand personality is close to your ideal personality, not necessarily to your real personality. So these are various ways of analyzing how a brand preference develops. There are various ways of analyzing how different types of awareness develop. So awareness can be of different types. It can be top of the mind awareness, second in mind awareness, unaided awareness, or aided awareness. And what quality of awareness is developed also can be analyzed using psychoanalysis applied to the brand campaign that you are doing. So psychoanalysis can be used in a much deeper way. The catch is that psychoanalytic researches are difficult to do using survey method. You have to proceed more on in-depth interview as the main mode of research, supplemented if necessary with focus group discussions and projective testing. So if you do this kind of thing, the psychoanalysis can be very strongly used, very productively used to understand how people are responding to the campaign at a very deep level of their minds.
Right. Yes, I get that point. It cannot be a survey kind of a thing if you're using psychoanalysis. As a point.
Especially if you use the Jungian psychoanalysis, you can see
Aha.
a very pervasive use of archetypes and mythology
Yes.
related to archetypes in brand communication.
Okay.
You also see themes of psychoanalytic themes of abandonment, of the all good, all bad mother, of the protector, of the savior, of abandonment, of rebelonging, of finding the all good object, of narcissism. All those themes are at full play in the corporate
Oh,
communication that you see.
true, true, true. Well, we have discussed today the third and the final part of brand creation process. In our next episode, we will discuss an interesting topic of how to select a good brand name. Do write to us at hvindia@gmail.com and keep watching our coming series. Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Namaste.